Let's begin with a brand new meme that has been hitting the internet, which is the Dark Brandon meme. I thought we'd go through how this has come about and why it doesn't make any sense, but also it shows the kind of like cultural paucity behind what the Democrats are doing. But before we start exploring the latest meme on the internet, you might be thinking, hang on a second, I thought you were meant to be doing highbrow content. Well, we do, over on the website. If you want highbrow content from us, go over to lotus.com and watch our analysis of Dostoevsky's Notes from the Underground. There you go, feed your big brain for a bit, because now we're going to talk about memes. TV here so I can see what's going on. You may remember that in 2021, Joe Biden was not very popular, and you got the F Joe Biden chants that were at college football games. They started going viral, and this sort of picked up, and it happened a lot of times. And this was quite a bad look for the Biden administration. You don't really want organic groups of people at sports games saying F you, because it doesn't look good. And so the regime media, which is what I'm going to call the mainstream media, decided they'd try and cover this up. And so at one particular event, it was there was a chap who was being interviewed by a journalist, and the crowd started chanting "F Joe Biden," and she said to him, "Oh, look, they're chanting, 'Let's go, Brandon,'" and that's how Joe Biden got the moniker of Brandon. And so this became very popular with Republicans because I think they don't like to swear.
No, they don't. I noticed that when I was in America. Every time you dropped a C-bomb, whereas in Glasgow, it get you a round of applause.
Yeah, exactly. They're very funny about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
But so they don't like to swear. So now they can say, "Let's go, Brandon," instead of "F Joe Biden," which they picked up and pretty much ran with. And then this ties in with a meme called Dark MAGA. Now, Dark MAGA originated from Time magazine readers.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
But kind of, right? Because the MAGA folk believe things that are false, as we have to say on YouTube, 100% categorically false. There was no tampering in the election in 2020 at all, which is why this Time magazine article is a conspiracy theory, in which they admit to it. They say there was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes. This is the Time magazine article, one that curtailed the protests and coordinated resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were a result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. The pact was formalized in a terse, little-noticed joint statement of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see it as some sort of implicit bargain, inspired by the summer's massive and sometimes destructive racial justice protests, in which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault on democracy. All right, we disavow Time magazine's conspiracy theorizing here. We don't believe that anything happened with the election, even if Time magazine is claiming that it was. But there are people in the MAGA camp who believe that it was. And so they felt that Donald Trump had been hard done by in some way. He'd been cheated. And so the sort of narrative arc of Donald Trump, they feel, needs to come back in what they call Dark MAGA. And I find this to be a really interesting write-up of it, right? This is basically calling for Donald Trump to return to power and take revenge on his enemies. We don't have to comment on this, I don't think.
Right. Okay. So it's interesting. Like, so do you think Trump is going to? Do you think, number one, he's going to run again?
Yes.
Yeah. So I agree. I was talking to a few people who know. They say he's going to run again. Do you think he's going to win if he runs again?
Well, it depends who they run him against, I suppose.
Yeah.
But if it's
Biden isn't going to run again, I think we know that much.
I mean, I don't know. He said he was.
I mean, he says a lot of things that don't make sense.
He absolutely does. The thing is, who are they going to put up against Trump, if not him?
It's a very good question. I don't know. People were saying Pete Buttigieg.
I mean, I'd like to see it. Actually, I think that Trump would crush him.
Do you think Trump would? See, the thing it is with Trump is like there are a lot of people, even on the right, even in the conservative right, not just the libertarian right, the conservative right, who are very anti-Trump. They don't like Trump. They think he's too divisive a figure. Yep. They think he's fundamentally toxic. They would much prefer a Ron DeSantis to actually run because they feel he's more unifying, less toxic, and he will calm the culture war and the political situation down.
I think there are a lot of pundits who think that. But when it was recently sort of polled, the GOP was polled, Ron DeSantis was on 24% and Trump was on like 70% or something like that. It was a massive lopsided thing. I think that Trump still holds the hearts and minds of Republicans in America.
Really, because even Matt Walsh, who is very much on the right, Daily Wire stalwart, he came out and said that he would prefer it if Trump stood down, and he thinks that's the right thing for him to do. So there is a movement on the right who don't want Trump. They saw Trump as necessary in 2016, but they think it's time for somebody else now.
The Daily Wire have always been pretty tepid Trump supporters, though. Like Ben Shapiro didn't like him at all.
No, Shapiro hated him.
Yeah, the rest of them. I think Michael Knowles is pretty much the only one who kind of seemed quite warm to Trump. None of the rest seemed to like him. But it seems that Trump still has the hearts and minds of the actual Republican voters. And the thing is, like, it's only a couple of years ago, if we cast our minds back to how great everything was. Like, you can say what you like about Trump as a person, but what he was presiding over was, record low unemployment, record low fuel prices, global stability, actually, making peace deals across the Middle East and things like this. Like, things were actually going really well under Trump. And it's remarkable that within 2 years, Biden has cratered this into the ground. So,
I mean, the part of the problem as well, Carl, I mean, let's be fair, I'm no big fan of Joe Biden, but COVID has had a massive part to play.
Sure.
Bailing everyone out, the lockdowns, etc., etc., etc. So he has been given quite a tough hand. Now, he hasn't played it well. Afghanistan was a complete disaster. I still have no idea. We interviewed on our show Colonel Richard Kemp, who said that they evacuated from Afghanistan at the height of the Taliban fighting season.
Yeah.
And not only that...
And they took the troops first. And then the civilians afterwards. It's like, why would you do this?
Yeah, which is military 101. That's the first thing you learn at Sandhurst is you get the civilians out and then you take the military out.
You don't need to be in any way trained to know, well, you send the military last because you want to get the things that can't protect themselves out first. I mean, you don't need any kind of training for that, And so it seems to be the height of incompetence, frankly, or ideological maybe, because Biden does he's got the sort of left wing line on foreign intervention where it's like, oh, the US military evil in all circumstances. It's like, well, maybe, but also maybe there is a justified use for them sometimes, right? And so
agreed. But don't you think that a lot of Americans and a lot of British people here have been scarred by Iraq?
Oh yeah.
And deservedly so.
Yeah,
let's be honest, because it was lies.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's all BS. And it was obviously just the neocon imperial project that I don't support and never have supported. So you are completely right. But the thing is, it's not just COVID that Biden has messed up on. In fact, we'll get into a bit more what he's done wrong in a bit, because, like you say, it is a bad hand, but it's one that he inherited the solution from Trump for. Because, I mean, at the time, like, Trump was getting like 1 million vaccines out a day and things like that. And then Joe Biden came and go, we're getting 1 million vaccines out a day. It's like, yeah, but that was already in place when you took over. So, he actually was given quite a good hand, even though it was a crisis. It wasn't a tragedy that he had to go in and try and pick up or anything like that. And he's just completely ruined almost everything that he's touched. And it's not to say that Trump isn't like, a divisive person or an asshole or anything like this. He's all of these things.
Of course he is. We all know.
Yeah.
Not even his own daughter would deny the fact that he's an asshole.
But he does make fairly good decisions when it comes to governance.
Look, Trump did very, very well when it came to overseas.
Yeah.
When it came to overseas. He was the first one who, highlighted the issue of China. Nobody on the Democrats wanted to do that. He was the one who was... there are many people who believe that Putin wouldn't have invaded if Trump was...
I'm one of them. I'm firmly one of them. I mean, when he had his intervention in Syria and he airstruck the airbase, and everyone's like, oh my God, and everything's silence.
Yeah.
Like, the Russians were like, okay, the Syrians were like, okay, everyone's like, okay, we'll just be quiet then. And it's like, yeah, good. You need that. You need to have the guy in the top being like, oh, I'm going to do stuff if you keep mouthing off, you little... You need to have that sort of firm hand. And Trump was it.
Yeah.
Biden is obviously not it.
Because the reason Biden was elected, as you know, was ABT, anyone but Trump.
Absolutely. I disavow the Time article.
Mm.
We totally do. Anyone but despite rumors to the contrary, I actually do think that's probably quite a strong argument in favor of it. You know, there's definitely going to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'm just sick of hearing about Trump, you know, in the media all day, every day. You know, anyone but Trump at this point. But I guess they didn't realize how bad it would get.
Well, this is it, and a lot of Americans that I talked to, friends, family, etc., when they came to vote, a lot of them voted for Biden. I'm like, why? And they were just, we're sick of the divisions, we're sick of the rancor, we just want some kind of stability, and to not have a different news story about what Trump said on Twitter, literally every single day of our lives.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that there was an exhaustion. America was exhausted at that point.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Dark MAGA meme is kind of a vengeance meme, and that's the essence of it. It's a feeling of an incomplete narrative arc. There's a story that they thought was playing out with Donald Trump, who was going to save America, and this was unfairly prevented. But that was obviously not true. But this is why this meme has taken hold, because they're like, look, in 2024, he's obviously going to run, because Trump is like just a giant walking ego, and obviously can't stop himself, right? he can't stop himself. He's got to come back in and take revenge. And they're like, great, let's make the revenge meme worthy. And so it is out of this, the synthesis of the Brandon meme and the Dark MAGA meme, that we get Dark Brandon, which is really dumb. If we can go to the next one. So this is the White House Deputy Press Secretary, Andrew Bates, posting the Dark MAGA meme, as you can see, it's like Donald Trump, he's going to come back with a vengeance. And so it's Joe Biden with glowing eyes with the caption, "Your malarkey has been going on for long enough, kiddo." It's like, who's malarkey? What are you talking about? Dark Brandon is crushing it. What, the economy? Like, yeah, well done. You know, you've got nothing to brag about. Like, Joe Biden is absolutely cratering. If I was Joe Biden or in his administration, I'd be like, look, we're going down in flames. What the hell is wrong with you? You know, this is absolutely not the Deputy Press Secretary in the White House is posting this. It's like, are you intentionally trying to destroy the country? Because that's what it looks like from the outside, right? And then we've got the next one, the White House Director of Digital Strategy. What are you doing? Like, Joe Biden is just making mistake after mistake after mistake. And you're like, yeah, this is all intentional.
But I think the problem is, so I went to the Comedy Cellar in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And a comedian made a joke. And bear in mind that this is New York, that he liked Joe Biden's latest look, or as they call it on the streets, the open casket effect. And it got a huge laugh.
I'm not surprised. It's funny.
Oh, you see, look, no, I'm not denying. It's a great joke. I can't remember the comedian's name, otherwise I would credit him.
Yeah.
But it's a great joke. But the fact he said that in a blue state, in one of the bluest cities in the country, in a comedy audience, which tends to be on the whole, and I'm talking from a UK perspective, a little bit left leaning on the whole, because it's creative, it's artsy, etc., and it got a huge laugh because we all know, we can all see the guy can't seem to put his jacket on.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute if that's all right.
Yeah.
So this was rather amusing because these memes, a lot of them came from 4chan, and if you steal something from 4chan, you get Nazi imagery in it. Again, you can see Andrew Bates has posted this. Can you get this picture up? Right. So Andrew Bates, that's the White House Deputy Press Secretary. That's the Dark Knight Rises, but instead of a bat in the background, it's an imperial eagle. Yeah. That's how you know they stole this from 4chan. Yeah, that's the Nazi eagle that's represented against the skyline. Well done, Andrew. Tweeting out Nazi propaganda. Good job, mate. Yes, and the whole meme doesn't make any sense because the fact that he's wearing an eye patch there it was punished Trump, as in, Trump had been unfairly dealt with, and therefore he's in the meme of punished thing. Well, Brandon is the current president. He hasn't been punished in any way. It doesn't make any sense, but you have got him in front of a Nazi eagle, so well done. Looks great, Andrew.
Who is Andrew Bates?
He's the Deputy Press Secretary of the White House.
Okay, well, he's a moron then.
Yes. Posting out Nazi memes.
Yeah.
Like a genius.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, the National Pulse put up an article being like, yeah, this is Nazi imagery. You are stupid. What are you doing? And the thing is, the whole Dark Brandon meme was actually created as Chinese propaganda. So the Democrats have adopted Chinese anti-Biden propaganda. If you can get to the next one. this is the origin of it, as you can see. It's from a Chinese account.
Wow.
Yeah. And the White House has co-opted it after it was filtered through 4chan, made Nazi. It's just like, what is wrong with you? And so this is one of the clips of the memes going around, and I don't know if this is meant to be pro or anti Joe Biden. Let's watch.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
For all those of you who voted for President Trump, there's no way out.
See, is that pro or anti?
I think it's anti, isn't it?
I don't know.
You won't be safe in Biden's America, wasn't that what they said?
Yeah, but this it's meant to be aimed at, I think, MAGA voters, and so it's just one of those things where it's like, this is the sort of stuff the White House Deputy Press Secretary is putting out, and it's just like, okay.
But the thing that I don't understand is that, and look, I'm not an expert in American politics, but it's a widely known fact that a lot of Bernie voters, or people who would have voted for Bernie when Hillary in 2016 was elected as the leader of the Democrats, they all went to Trump.
Yep, it was something like 20% or something.
Yeah,
it's
so
quite a large number.
Quite a large number. So there are people there who you can persuade.
Oh yeah.
Who you can say, look, you voted for Trump. Here's why you should vote for Biden.
A lot of Trump voters voted for Obama.
Yeah,
a lot of them. And so it's very exactly, why are they taking this strategy? Like, what is this?
I don't understand why alienating people or demonizing people, and we had the same thing here with Brexit. Why do you demonize people just because you disagree with them? And even if you think they made a wrong decision, surely you are human enough to actually understand that we all make mistakes. If you believe that people made a mistake, and if they made a mistake, there's a chance.
Well, isn't that interesting that they kind of harmonize the concepts of making mistake with being immoral, right? Being wrong is also to be a bad person.
Yes.
And that's exactly how the Democrats tend to frame everything, through the filter of experts.
Yeah.
And so if you don't just genuflect before the current expert, then you're an immoral person.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm maybe just wrong.
Yeah. And which we all are, many times a day.
And the experts have been.
Of
multiple
course.
times.
Yeah. And we're not going to say how the experts, because I don't want to get
yeah.
your channel, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But we have seen time and time again that experts have been wrong, because you know what? We're all fallible and we all make mistakes.
Shockingly, experts are human too.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the point, though, isn't it? You're exactly right. It's like, why won't they approach it with more human touch? Why take this adversarial? And like, is this, again, if it wasn't his own staff, the White House Deputy Press Secretary, the Director of Digital Strategy, like, these are not inconsequential positions.
No.
Tweeting out like these warlike memes, this is, and they're, Trump's divisive. It's like, really, is this Chinese Nazi propaganda not divisive from the official guys?
Well, this is the problem. It's where people become so entrenched and both parties are so polarized and that really has an effect on the country as a whole, because then you just start to see people who think differently or vote differently to you as the enemy. And once that happens,
exactly right.
What's going to happen to society?
Well, it's got to be civil war, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's really what I'm worried about. And it's both sides who are stirring the pot. And then you get people on the dissident right, I'm not going to name names, who are just like, there's going to be a civil war, and repeating it. And you're like, you're not doing anything to help the problem either, man. It's just like being in a Weatherspoons going, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight. Yeah. Well, you know what? There probably will be a fight now.
Yeah, with this kind of attitude on both sides. Yeah. You're definitely going to hit fight.
Yeah.
But this is the problem. I do think that the pathologization did begin with the Democrats. I do think it did. Although I think you might be able to trace it to the Libertarians and Obama. So there was the Tea Party against Obama, which is a libertarian uprising against what they viewed as communism coming from Obama. So maybe you could trace it to that.
And there was also I can't remember the name of it, where they were trying to prove that Obama wasn't a real American.
Yeah.
You know,
But then you could also go further and say, well, look at the left's reaction to George Bush.
yeah,
When it came to Iraq, like, it was nothing but demonization. And don't get me wrong, I was against it too, because he was obviously wrong. But the point is this: you can see that this is a spiral that's spiraling out of control now, and everything. Like, I think it's coming to end of Republic sort of territory. This sort of like the end of fall of the Roman Republic. I think that we're getting into this sort of territory with America now, unfortunately.
I think part of the problem is as well is that we're glossing over 2008, where there was widespread corruption, widespread fraud, but who paid for it? It was the ordinary taxpayer, and the people who actually created the financial crisis.
They got bailed out.
They got bailed out, and they just moved on with their lives, and they're absolutely fine. And the ordinary person,
let's put that in the proper context. They didn't move on with their lives. They sailed off in their yachts.
yeah, yeah,
That's the right way to frame it, I think.
And as a result, people are looking at it and going, well, it's clearly one rule for them and another rule for us.
Which it is.
Yeah, which it is. And then that means that people don't buy in to the system or the idea of a republic or a country because they don't see themselves as having an equal stake in the country.
And when you see the people leading the country pathologizing the opponents as evil that can be eradicated in some way and endorsing this idea, like this, it is truly dangerous, I think. Truly dangerous.
When anybody ever asks me about Trump and they go, what do you think about him? And I always say, Trump is a symptom of the sickness in America.
That's totally right.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's all it is. Because you had a group of people who felt that the system didn't represent them. And you know what? They were right. But as a result of globalization, they saw their work, their factories go over and just get shipped over. The hearts and souls of their community get ripped out. They were demonized. They were told that they were privileged, that they, even though they had nothing, that they were still, worthy of, mockery and all the rest of it.
Well, they're white supremacists.
Yeah.
They're privileged. They're evil. They're Nazis. It's like, God, man.
Yeah. And they were told this time and time again. And that is what happens when you demonize people, when you don't address their fears, you get Trump. Because if people within the mainstream don't try and solve a problem, you're going to get someone from outside the mainstream coming in and saying the words, these people don't represent you, I will.
And
that's
exactly
populism.
what Trump did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Trump did. And he won.
Yeah.
You can't say, well, that'll never happen or it won't work. No, it did happen and it did work.
Yeah.
So anyway, these memes, like posing Biden in a position of particular strength, I think is rather remarkable because I don't think Joe Biden is in a particular position of strength, and they're easily co-opted, as we can see in the next one. Because sorry, we can go to the next one. You can see, oh well, Joe Biden's been pictured sniffing a lot of kids, so yeah, makes him look a little bit worse. But also, let's just check in with Dark Brandon, shall we? How he's been doing. Yeah, that's right. He can't get his coat on because the wind's too strong. This is, compare that to the meme. The evil, powerful overlord of America needs his wife to help him get his coat on.
But when you see this, and when you see, do you remember the clip when I was in America when this started to go viral? And then he fell off
his glasses.
He dropped his glasses. I mean, everyone drops their glasses. So I certainly do.
Not evil overlords who are going to crush the opponents. They don't drop their glasses.
But when you see him fall off his bike, and then people were mocking this, I'm like, you're mocking an 80-year-old bloke. You're basically mocking a granddad. And
I remember putting a post about this on Ghetto. It didn't go down very well, but I was like, look, this isn't it. This isn't it.
Yeah, I don't want to be... I didn't feel comfortable with essentially mocking an old man having an elderly moment. Yeah. Because he could have been seriously hurt. He could have fractured his hip. He could have fractured his hip.
Yeah.
I just don't think somebody of this age... I know this is going to sound ageist. I don't think somebody of this age should be president. I just don't think you have the energy or the mental faculties to be able to do the job effectively. I don't understand why they can't get somebody who's younger, fitter, etc. In all of America, is this the best?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. But that reveals the oligarchy, though, doesn't it? Right?
It does indeed.
It's not that Joe Biden is the best. It is that he is at the top of the pyramid, and he spent his life working through the oligarchical structures that underpin all of this. That's the myth of little Jimmy could grow up to be the president one day. No, He's going to have to be a party man for his entire life. And then when he's an old man, he'll get the presidency.
And, this is something I never appreciated about America. I never understood. But you go to Washington, and it's basically a city of bureaucrats.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. I never realized that. It's basically Washington is Whitehall, but bigger.
Yeah. It is the permanent bureaucracy entrenched in this weird pyramid that I can't even imagine wanting to try and enter into.
Yeah.
It's just awful. Every single day, it's lobbyists, it's interest groups, and it's just politicians on the phone raising money. It's like, nah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Man. And that's it. And the reason Trump was created and the reason we have Biden in is because of that system, because it doesn't represent ordinary people.
That is exactly right. So anyway, let's carry on and just have a quick roundup of how Biden's doing. Not well. Lowest approval rating ever, pretty much. Probably since Abraham Lincoln in the South. 38% approval rating, which is way lower than Trump, with disapproval being something like 57%. Again, lower than Trump. So if you can have all of the media on your side and still be that disliked, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yep.
And that's because he's definitely responsible for the gas price hike that he tried to blame on Putin. This was, in fact, the New York Post has got a great way of summarizing this. The problem is that Biden is in the grip of a pro-scarcity ideology that demands humankind return to relying on 100% renewables like we did before the Industrial Revolution. That's right. That's exactly right. They view petrol as being evil. And of course, because of the coronavirus lockdowns, Biden was like, hey, I'm going to give you free money. So the inflation's through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Annual inflation rate of 9.1% in June, the Department of Labor said. That's terrible.
It is. We had a very interesting guest on my show, Trigonometry, called Peter Zahan, and he was saying what you're actually seeing. He said, look, Biden and Boris at the time, they're responsible for what's happening. But there's bigger forces at play, which is what we're seeing is the end of globalization.
Oh, let's hope so.
Yeah, and he was saying, but look, and as a result of the end of globalization, everything is going to become a lot more expensive. If you want things that are made in your country, in your area, you know what? You're going to have to pay a lot more for them because because American workers or British workers are going to be expected to be paid far more than their Chinese counterparts.
That's a really great point as well. We've kind of been addicted to the low prices provided by globalization.
Yeah.
I can buy anything cheap and shit from China. I shouldn't swear. But this is the thing, and we're addicted to this cheap tat. It's like, okay, but why do you need that? Why do you even have it? Wouldn't it be worth paying a bit more to get something decent that will last you for a few years rather than for 6 months or however long the Chinese clock is going to last you?
Of course, and we've become addicted to these interconnected networks where we can get gas from Russia and we can get the cheaply made stuff from China. But the problem is not everyone is going to be an ally. And
as Putin has shown.
Yeah, as Putin has shown. And what you have now is Germany in hock to Russia because they provide them with all these natural resources. So if Germany stand up to Russia, and Russia turn the tap, Germany's screwed.
Well, they've done that.
They did that to themselves with closing down the nuclear power plants.
Honestly, I've said this so many times. The French must be laughing at the Germans so hard right now.
Yeah.
They must just be, you're idiots. But anyway, so this Bidenflation, as they've been calling it, is obviously not good. And it's probably going to kill people. It's probably going to be directly responsible for deaths because apparently nearly 98 million Americans are delaying medical care because, of course, in America, you have to pay for your medical care directly. And so this means that basically, I've got a spot I want to go get checked out. Well, that's going to cost me money. And money's a bit tight at the moment, so who knows? So there's going to be knock-on effects from all of this. It's all going badly. And so Biden's team putting out these memes of Biden looking really strong and tough, not good optics, in my opinion. Moving on.
Thanks for watching this segment from the podcast Lotus Eaters. If you enjoyed, you can subscribe now and become a premium member on our website and gain access to our exclusive content, including the Epoch series where Bo and Carl and other guests talk about historical events, such as this one, A Bridge Too Far, talking about World War II. If you're interested in following us on social media and finding more, you can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com. Thank you and goodbye.